Alright, so we just got news that a holy relic will be given for free as login bonus, and it's a deer relic. So deer being the most annoying boss in the game, getting a free relic for him is pretty nice. A lot of people are going to be asking me, which relic should I give? And well, here I am to tell you that. Now, deer relics, of course, are for both goddesses and fairies. The fairies that are darkened out are fairies that still don't have relics, so or goddesses as well. So if you want to wait for them specifically to get a relic and not give it to anyone else, sure. But most goddesses and fairies already have relics. Again, the only big time fairies missing are, King, the festival king, Glocks, and base Elaine, and then for goddesses, the new Liz, then red hair Liz, and fake Liz. So all the other characters, I have every single deer relic except Goddess Liz. I could make it, actually. I have the materials. I just really don't want to. So, so let's already rank her, right? Goddess Liz has quite possibly one of the worst holy relics in the game. There are a lot of bad holy relics in this game. And Liz somehow has one of the worst. Let's bring up base Liz and Goddess Liz and Liz Hawk. Goddess Liz's holy relic. Oh my god, the way I have here. Increases her shield multiplier by 15%. It's awful. It's terrible. It's horrendous. It's one of the worst holy relics in the game. Let's talk about the Liz's since I have them open. Base Liz. So this is SR Liz and actually open here as well. This is SR Liz and the other base Liz's. So this blue Liz, this red Liz, and the green Liz. Their holy relics is actually pretty good. Increases all allies HP related stats by 15%. This is unironically one of the best deer relics out there. Where is she? I don't have base Liz on my list yet. Wait, give me a second. Sorry about that. Base Liz actually has unironically one of the best relics in the game. I do recommend the base Liz relic, but before you make it, of course, let's talk about the other units as well. Liz Hawk has a pretty mediocre holy relic. Increases the hero's basic stats by 30%. The only viable reason I can think about making her holy relic is like specific guild boss teams. Other than that, I don't really recommend. Again, it's a very specific reason why you would even do their relics, because all these Ellie Hawks, they don't really have much else going for them. Let's talk about Fairy now, since we're here. Base Skinny King. Base Skinny King's holy relic, you would think is really good. You would think it's, of course, increases the damage he does to enemies that are debuffed by 80%. You would think that's really good, but it's really bad. Like, it's just because base kings don't really have a place in the game. In general, their stats are really bad. They just don't do much, even with the 80% extra. So if base king got like a stat buff, then hell yeah. But the way it is, it just kind of sucks. Fat King, just like Ellie Hawk, he is also a character I would only recommend for specific guild boss strategies. Because his relic is also a stat buffing relic. He gives himself 30% 30% stats. Every time he uses a card, he gets a stat buff. I actually don't remember exactly. I'm actually reading here from JP. I used it once. Or is it for every debuff on enemy he gets stats? Listen. I used it once. And that was about it. It was good for like 3 seconds on guild boss. And then people stopped using him on the guild boss for that week. So it was like, okay. Not only recommend, but it is viable for a specific strategy there. So Gerhard. Let's Gerhard. Gerhard, I literally just made a video on. She removes ultimate gauge on enemies that she kills. So, or on all enemies when she kills an enemy. It's the same thing as Athena's passive. Literally the same thing as Athena's passive. I don't really recommend. It's not gonna do much for you, honestly. For PvP, if it worked in the... Does it work in the back? I don't think it does. Maybe it does. Let me see. It does. It does work in the back. You know, it's okay. I'll get... Listen, the relics for deer are so bad. For the most part, I'll give it it's okay. Because honestly, the deer relics are just not very good in general. Let's go back to goddesses. Margaret. Margaret's relic is pretty bad. That's unfortunate. Listen, I'm trying to give them some props as well, because deer relics are not as common, but increases the hero's... Increases the hero's damage dealt to enemies by 5% and decreases damage taken by participants for each ally from the 4 archangels in the battlefield. I don't think she counts. The way it's worded, it makes it seem like she doesn't even count, so at most, you're going to be getting 10%, and for a lot of times, when you're using Margaret, you're not using any archangels, honestly. You're using her on the Ultra Rush team, or you're using her on... if you are using on the Archangel team, then Liz is on the field as well, so you only have one ally Archangel. It's pretty bad. You know, okay, in comparison to other relics, the other relics is not that bad. I'll give it it's okay. It's really bad. It's not good. It's like at most you're getting 10%, and at worst you're getting 0 for the most part. It's like a stat buff for the most part. Ludo. Ludo's relic is really good. If you use him at all, then I recommend him. If you want to use him in PvP at all, like, then I recommend him. Without his relic, he's a nobody. And with his relic, he's actually really, really good again. So that's Ludo. But again, only if you really want to use him. Red Sariel. Let's give Red Sariel. Red Sariel is an interesting one because, you know, it's really not bad, but it's not amazing either. I'll say it's okay. I don't really recommend. If you really want to use Sariel for deer, or because maybe you don't have Scotty, then I suppose you can use it, but it's really not the greatest holy relic. It gives him up to 40% basic stats. In PvP, no, it's not good. Blue Tarmiel, since we're talking about Red Sariel. Blue Tarmiel. Blue Tarmiel's holy relic is pretty bad. I used the... I'll say it's not as bad as Ludociel's relic, or Margaret's relic. I used it when it came out, and I was very disappointed on how mediocre it seemed. So, decreases allies' damage taken by 20% when in a stance, and increases damage dealt by counters by 30%. Combined with Green Sariel, it seems like the way it's supposed to be, right? You combine them with Green Sariel, it should be good, but it's really not. I would say I don't really recommend either as your like first holy relic for deer, because it's just the effect is just not that great. It works in the back though, so that's a plus. Red Tarmiel, if you use him at all, I recommend. Red Tarmiel's holy relic has saved me so many times when I'm using the Archangel team, or just use him whatsoever. If you just want him, if you have Red Tarmiel but you only use him for Link, you don't use him whatsoever, then there's no point, obviously. You'd only be getting his holy relic for stats for Link. But Red Tarmiel's relic is really good. It's Green Joel's passive. When someone gets 5 ultimate gates, they get ult sealed. It can really work in your favor a lot in PvP. Although again, Red Tarmiel is more of a Link than a character. It does give stats for the character for the Link. So I would say Red Tarmiel, out of the deer relics, is one of the best. Let's finish the goddesses. The only goddess left is Green Sariel. Green Sariel's relic is surprisingly good. It's super effective. It's again another relic that if you use Green Sariel at all, I do recommend. When an enemy uses a skill on the hero, grants an effect that increases attack by 20% for 1 turn. When the inflicting damage from an enemy using skills or counters recovers HP by 15% of damage dealt. That includes his attack card and his counter card. This makes him a heal machine in PvP. I actually do recommend Green Sariel's relic. Green Sariel's relic is very good. It's a really, really good relic. Man, it's actually crazy. Because there's a lot of relics I do recommend. Deer has a lot of mediocre relics, but a lot of you know, not so bad relics either. Awful, I think only Goddess Liz's relic is awful. Base Helbram. Base Helbram's relic is actually not terrible. It's not amazing. He buffs fairies' basic stats by 20%, and there's not really like a fairy-based team in the game, so it's like, it's okay. I don't really recommend. You're only really using this for like, I guess, Elaine and King, and there's no third for the front. And Helbram has horrible CC, horrible, terrible, atrocious, any word you want to use. His CC is completely terrible, so it doesn't help him at all. For PvP, you're not gonna really want to use him. This Elaine, so this Elaine actually has a really good holy relic. If the enemy has shock effect, all allies do extra 30% damage. Is it, wait, am I mixing up with her passive? Is it all allies or only fairies? I shouldn't mess that up. But in either case, if you use her with King whatsoever, yeah, I mean, increases all enemies damage taken while having a shock debuff. This is for all allies. Like, if she applies shock, all enemies take 30% extra damage. In PvP, obviously, that's where you're gonna want to use it. It's really powerful. Only if you have Blue Elaine, and only if you have Festival King, then you can use them both together. It's really good. Even today, with Tarmiel Link, it's still pretty effective. And Festival King, I think he's the last one. It's really good, man. Okay, let's rearrange this tier list, right? Because I think this is not fair. Let me rearrange the titles and how the tier list works. Give me a second. I think this is a better distribution here. Although, again, it didn't save. Well, okay. That's it didn't really save there. Okay. The bottom there, I don't recommend. Again, this is specific for guild boss points, and even then, I've seen that people don't even use it at the top anyways. These ones are okay. These are very good if you want to focus on them being, you know, a big part of your focus for PvP. And these ones I big time recommend. Base Liz, again, unironically, it's a really good holy relic. I've been thinking of who I'm going to give this relic to on my free-to-play account. I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to wait to pull Red Tarmiel, because Red Tarmiel, for his link, I think is worth it. I have so many SSR tickets, I'm going to hope that I pull multiple copies of him with SSR tickets when he gets added. And actually use him as link all the time, right? Or what you can do is, obviously, you can wait for Festival King to get his relic, or the new Liz, or even still, you can actually wait for new characters to come out, right? But it's just like, for goddesses and fairies, there's no character where it's like, I'm like, okay, this is a must-have holy relic. Because with the bird relics, I was like, for humans, like, if you want to use Bun at all, his relic completely changes how he plays, and he makes him so much better, right? And same thing for Lilia, and same thing for freaking Unknown. Unknown is the worst here, the last year, I'm sorry. Megalda is like a must-have. It was my first relic on the free-to-play account as well. Like, Megalda is a must-have holy relic if you have her. It's like a no-brainer. That should be your first holy relic if that was like the free one was your first. It was a no-brainer. I think there's no like no-brainers for Deer, but some very good ones for sure.